This is a 2 Network match report live from Crystal Palace. It's pissing it down. I've just watched one of the most turgid games of football I can probably imagine. We spent 8.5 hours on the coach, and now we're basically just going straight back home again. I thought the linesman was absolutely atrocious. Didn't call an obvious offside, an obvious goal kick. We didn't offer a lot up front ultimately. I mean, we managed 6 shots and 3 on target to their 16 and 4. So in terms of, I mean, again, we were without possession for most of the game. So you can imagine that as much as they had the lion's share of possession, they really didn't do a lot with it. They weren't effective at all. But we were just impotent up front, absolutely. I mean, certainly when Rondon came off in the second half, I mean, at half time, sorry. I mean, I don't know why he went off. I don't know if it was an injury. It's very concerning because if it is an injury, then I worry about our effectiveness to score. You know, a lot is riding on Rondon this season, and if he can't make it through a full match yet, which he hasn't for us, we're in a lot of trouble. I mean, Hosselu, for as much as he works hard, he just doesn't provide that cutting edge. I mean, he had a snatch at goal in the second half. But, I mean, ultimately, we were just back to the walls. The first half, as much as they had a lot of possession, they were playing a very high line. It seemed to be a very a big opportunity to try and breach them. But Perez wasn't able to, you know, break beyond Rondon. Rondon's game isn't really pacey in that respect. And it was crying out for Muto to come on and try and breach the lines, which he tried to do in the last sort of 10 minutes of the game. But by that point, I mean, he didn't have much support ultimately, and we had to be very, very wary of their attacking threat on the wings. You know, in the first half, a lot of their threat was coming from that left-hand side with Van Aanholt and from Wilfried Zaha, which I thought Yedlin dealt with well, but Richie wasn't really providing him with the defensive support that he needed. Yedlin got a yellow card, which was obviously a bit of a concern going into the second half, but it ultimately didn't. You know, it didn't really affect anything defensively, and he didn't get another yellow card. But you know, Atsu came on for Richie soon enough, and you know, Perez tried to drive a bit forward. Shelby was all over our attacking play in the first half. He seemed to be a very, very important cog, and it was really, really good to have him back. But defensively, you've got to look at the likes of Paul Dummett, who I thought was very, very, very good, and Federico Fernandez, who was everywhere. And as much as Federico Fernandez won a lot of clearances, I thought his distribution was still a bit clumsy. So you make a clearance, sure, and that was very, very good for us. And he was there to make the clearance. But ultimately, he kept giving it straight back to them and put us under a lot of pressure just simply because of... sorry, I'm just nearly getting run over here. He put us under a lot of pressure, and even though he was there to clear it initially, he was just giving it straight back, and there wasn't much intelligence, and we really were impotent in the final third. They seemed a lot more likely to score with their overlapping fullbacks. Max Meyer came on in the second half. He didn't seem to do too much, but I was very impressed by Wan-Bissaka, who has been gaining loads of plaudits over the last few Premier League games. I was very impressive, I thought. I thought Zaha had sort of forgotten that football's a contact sport. He was very critical when he got tackled. Clean challenges, you know, there wasn't much dirtiness going on. I mean, Yedlin got yellow carded for a challenge on Zaha, which I thought was quite weak. But ultimately, I thought it was a free kick, nothing more than that. Fucking hell, it's pretty mad here. So Zaha, after his outspoken comments last week, again, just seemed to forget that football is a contact sport, and you're going to get tackled, and you're going to get crunched a bit, unfairly, and that's what happened a lot. And I thought we did well to nullify a lot of his threats. Townsend skied a shot as well. You know, in the first half, we only had a Jose Perez who broke through and got a shot on target against Wayne Hennessy. But I just thought the opportunity was there. You know, you could look at it one way and just say, look, we drew 0-0 against Cardiff, and we did well to keep a clean sheet away from home and gain a point, our first point of the season. What we've done today is we've gained another point away from home. We've got another clean sheet, but I just worry if Rondon is going to be injured for a lengthy time, or what. I don't know what was going on, but Hosselu can't be our main striker for going forward. He just can't be. He works hard, but there was nobody breaching the lines, and maybe Perez's performances have shown us that Muto needs to get a start, because why have we bought him? We need him to push Perez, and if Perez isn't, you know, tearing up trees for us, we need to see what Muto can do. I mean, why would you pay 10 million and not see him? So I'd like to see him trying to knock on the door of Rafa Benitez and say, he deserves to get a starting place. It's been a very, very frustrating day. I thought ultimately not a lot happened in that game going forward, but defensively we look really, really solid, so there's a positive there. There's something that we can build upon to not get beat away from home, and ultimately to only get beat so far against the top six sides, the four of the top six sides is still pretty reasonable, and we need to take the season into consideration in the context that we're doing all right, you know. So there you go. I mean, I'm trying to work out where the hell we're going. But we've. I'm going to go on my way back to Newcastle now. It's taken 8.5 hours to get down. I left the house at about 5ish, 5:45. We probably had about half an hour. To sort of soak up the Crystal Palace atmosphere, but it's been a really, really good trip with the True Faith lads. But it's a 0-0 draw, but it really points to weakness in our squad and an opportunity to really damage and exploit what I consider to be quite a weak defence and goalkeeper. I mean, Wayne Hennessy, I don't believe is a Premier League quality goalkeeper. I don't think he's an international goalkeeper, and yet he still gets a game for Wales. We just didn't breach them. Like, James Tompkins is not a very good centre-back, but yet we caused him no problems, and that's in itself a very, very big problem. We've got work to do at home. Obviously, we go to Leicester now, and as much as we've managed to avoid defeat here and get a clean sheet, which is important, and shows that we've got battling spirit, then at the same time, it's just not good enough. We need to get more shots on target, to have sort of 3 shots on target, and to be honest, it's only the Perez goal where he had a lot of time to, you know, take the shot on and to trouble the goalkeeper, and he's lacking in confidence, and he really, really failed to do that. And I'm just not sure where we go from here, to be honest. I think Leicester's important. We could really do with a win, and to be honest, we could really do with not needing a win against Premier League champions of the last few years. To be honest, it's going to be a big ask, and turgid game of football. It's pissing it down with rain. And I don't know where we are. I don't know where the bus is. So we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to find myself. There's some raj people in London, as you can imagine. This is not fun. I'm very, very glad I don't live here. And look, Rafa Benitez had his name sung plenty of times. The sportsredirect.com banner went up, which I'm very, very pleased about. So a lot of publicity for that. I thought Palace's ground was very, very small, tin pot in a way, and it was. I just thought they were very. I don't know. There wasn't much of an atmosphere, to be honest, apart from the Newcastle corner. Maybe the weather doesn't help, and maybe the offering of football that everyone was watching didn't help either. So I could kind of sympathise to an extent with the Crystal Palace fans, but. It's been a very drab day. let's put it, and my phone is absolutely soaking, so I don't know how much of this you've heard. But anyway, I mean, I'll leave it there. Positives, another clean sheet, away from home, and another point that helps us on the way. But negatives, Salomon Rondon, what's the story there? Why did he come off at half time? And negatives, where's our attacking threat? Because we need to find one at some point. It's all very well using the excuse against the top 6 sides and, you know, what we're going to do against the top 6 defence, but ultimately Crystal Palace were there for the taking. They haven't got the most amazing defence I've ever seen, and we didn't really test them, and that is worrying. Rafa Benitez will know that. Rafa Benitez will be concerned, I'm sure. But we need to find our mojo again, and maybe we'll do that back at St James's Park against Leicester. I'd like to think so. Puel is a manager that I admire, but is a manager that is under fire constantly from his own fans, and maybe there's again an opportunity to exploit there, you know. Leicester have been, I think Leicester were humbled by Bournemouth recently, so maybe there's away from home, so maybe there's an opportunity there for us to get into them and to try and get our first win of the season on board. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I've been out on the 2 Network. Please subscribe on YouTube if you can. We've got Facebook and Twitter. I'm on SoundCloud and iTunes as well. So if you like what you hear, what you see, please subscribe, please rate, and tell other people about it and share. And I'd be really appreciative. Thanks very much. I've been on the 2 Network. This is me reporting live from Crystal Palace on a fucking horrible day. And I've got a long trip back. It's Crystal Palace 0, Newcastle 0. Cheers. Bye-bye.